Hi guys, welcome to the explanation for PT77 Game 3. This is the kind of game that, as an instructor, I hate because it doesn't really fit smoothly in with any of the normal game types. And that's really unusual. It's really rare for something not to fit in well, and it changes up how I have to teach things, and it's the sort of game that really freaks people out if they're not mentally ready to see something a little new and different. So the key on these games that are really different is usually they're mostly there for shock value to freak people out. When you actually sit down and tackle them, they're not that hard. This game, however, is pretty hard even when you get down to brass tacks and start doing it. So you're going to have to maintain calm and forge ahead. So what's going on here? In concept, it's very simple. Four people are just picking an office, and they've got these preferences, and if the office they want most isn't taken yet, they're going to get that. If that's taken, then they're going to get the next office. You know, if these two were both taken, they'll get their third. So it's pretty simple. We're picking the offices like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoever goes first, say it's Jackson, they're going to get their first choice. Say it's Paulson, they're going to get their first choice. So it kind of does look like an advanced order game, I think, is mentally what's underlying this. So in that way, it maybe does fit into our, our framework for how to do games. The only thing is here, I think it's actually easier to just do your work with this diagram that they give you. And that's not too unusual. That used to be more commonplace on these tests. You'd have games where they just draw out the diagram for you. This just doesn't look like a drawing of any kind, so it's sort of hard to know that maybe you should use this. So what I ended up doing was duplicating this thing up here for basically each problem that I worked on. And if you needed to, you could throw it in this framework so it's a little cleaner and easier to see, but I was just doing it up here. So say L went first, I just put a 1 there. They'd get their first choice at that point, logically. Whoever goes second, say it's T, they're going to get their, choice here. And then if you wanted to, too, you could eliminate X from everywhere else. X is gone in all those places. Y would now be gone. And then whoever goes third, is going to get whatever choice they still have open. So I think working with this diagram is the easiest thing to do. And that's not too unusual that the LSAT would give you a diagram to work with. That's essentially what they've done here. Okay, let's do 13. There's nothing you can do besides just test all these out. So they have Jackson taking W. That's meaning they're going to be fourth, right? And then L takes Y. That would mean they're fourth as well. So that looks kind of funky. Maybe that's not going to work. And then Paulson is taking X. Sorry, Paulson's taking X. And then T is taking Z. So nobody got their first choice. And that just doesn't work. I mean, somebody's got to go first, and they're going to get the first thing they picked. It's worth noting that either one of X or Y is going to be first, right? Because everybody likes those. So A's gone. Let's check out the next one here. You might even have to redraw this board for each thing you check, which is obviously majorly time-consuming. One thing about this game, if I had my wits about me, I might save it for being the last game that I do because, at the very least, this is something new and different. I'd like to at least know that I get the easier points that are probably lurking on game 4 beforehand. So anyways, we're doing B here. How about Jackson takes Z, L takes X, Paulson takes W, and then T has to take Y. Well, this looks better. Okay, so this person goes first, second, third, fourth. No problems there. It works out perfectly. So B's our answer. And I definitely want to keep our work so that, we can potentially use that later. Okay, for 14, this is a global must be true. We just need something that's always the case. So this is a theme in every game, but it was super important here for me to scan for an easy answer choice before I spend time testing really hard ones. So for A, At most, one of the employees selects the office he or she ranked. It didn't look like that would be an issue. This person could be 1, this could be 2. They both get there first. So rather than spending a lot of time, I'm going to keep looking for something that pops out at me. B also, it looks like something that would take some time to test. So I keep looking and I see C. At least one of the employees gets their first choice. Yeah, we already discussed that. Logically, somebody has to go first, and they're going to get their first choice. So by scanning for an easy answer choice, I saved major amounts of time here. You always want to try that strategy on global must-be-true questions, especially ones that are sort of early in the game. Okay, on 15, we need to figure out something that could be true, so it looks like there's nothing you can do besides just look at each answer choice again. You might look for, again, ones that are easier or harder to eliminate. And A, to me, looks really, really hard to test. So I went into elimination mode then, and I was like, well, maybe we can eliminate these other ones fast. So B, exactly 2 of the employees selects the office they rank 4th. I wanted to test that because it just didn't look possible, as I discussed early. Only way to do it is that somebody will get Y, so 4th, and then somebody else gets W. So this person will have to go 4th, and then somebody has to get W, and then all their other choices must have been taken up. But it just doesn't work out. I mean, try it with somebody random. Say X, Z, and Y is gone, and Paulson gets W. There's no way that the 2 remaining people are going to take all of those 3 things, right? Say this person goes first and gets gets Y, and this person goes second and gets X. Well, then Paulson would have Z to get, right, when he goes third. It's just not possible to have 2 people 4th. So I did want to investigate that, and I can eliminate that answer with confidence. How about C? Exactly 3 get the office they rank 2nd. That's clearly not going to be possible because there's not enough variety, right? Whoever goes first gets their first choice. Then you'd have to have, somebody go next that gets their second choice. Let's make it P. They go second here. But now we see we're out of options for even anybody else to get their second choice. It's clearly not going to work to have 3 get it. And then D is another one of these 3 people getting it things. So like 3 people getting their third choice. They'd have to all be different third choices. So these 3, well, that's never going to work, right? I mean, whoever goes first takes their first choice. Now X is out. Whoever would go next to would have to pull one of those out, and they're going to pull an earlier choice out of the hat, right? Say this guy goes second, they're going to get either their first or second choice. Whoever goes second is logically going to get their first or second choice. And then E was basically the same damn thing. Certainly not 3 people going 4th. So you're left with A. You don't even really have to look at it. I think it was faster to work by elimination. And yeah, it wasn't quick when I was talking about it here, but I think it went pretty fast when I was actually doing it. Okay, 16's a little harder, as if that were possible. Here we get Paulson's taking office W. So logically that must mean they're 4th because everything else would have to be gone for them to take W. And again, I was looking at these and I didn't want to spend tons of time on ones that looked really hard to test. So I was looking at A, that looks really hard to test. Same with B. I at least wanted to try out these last ones, right? C, I could see you could eliminate that right away. There's no way ever to get 3 people getting their first choice. And certainly not with this setup with Paulson taking W here. I mean, just try anything. It doesn't work. This person goes first, they get X. This person goes second, they get Y. But no one else wants anything else as their first choice. Y and X are already gone. So C was gone right away. I didn't want to test A and B because they look hard to test. So I looked at D and E. Let's at least test those and see if they could be true. So how about Jackson selects office X, right? Well, then that's not going to be possible because somebody else other than him has to go first. Either this person or this person would have to go first, and they're going to take office X. So D was gone. Let's take a look at E. Layer B selects office Z. So layer B takes Z. Maybe we'll have J go first and take Y, and then we can have T go second and take X, and then L could go third and take Z. Yeah, everything works perfect there. So it could be true, and it's the right answer. So again, I used kind of a logical attack. I didn't want to mess with testing things that were really hard to test. A and B looked tough to test, so I saved them to the end and didn't even end up having to look at them. Okay, which one of the following must be true? Here, again, I was looking for promising answers, and at this point I had enough of a handle on the game to at least look at things that might be funky. And I look at A, Jackson does not select office X. Well, why not? I mean, what if he's second choice, and somebody got Y first? I mean, it just doesn't look promising. So I move on, not necessarily eliminating it, but layer B not W. I mean, they're the most likely to get W because it's an early choice for them. So again, I'm just not looking at it. Z was the same thing for C. It's like, why not? So the only one that sort of piqued my interest here was I got down to E, and Paulson selecting X looked hard because X is in very high demand. Somebody else is going to want it first, it looked like. And sure enough, there's just no way you can ever get him to pick X because somebody else is always going to take it first. Say Paulson goes third and takes X. Well, whoever you put in front of him, say this person's 1 takes Y, the next person is definitely going to take X. So it just doesn't work no matter how you try it. And that means that Paulson does not select X. And remember, this is probably the last question you'd be doing on this section. So if you don't get to it, it's not the end of the world. It's a tough one. But I think the 170 crowd can have a pretty good shot at getting this by, looking for something fishy. And it looks fishy that Paul would ever be able to get X. Okay, so that's the game. Very hard one. Be aware of both kind of managing your panic level when you encounter something like this, and also saving it for the very back of the test, I think the back of the section is really the logical thing to do. Take out game 4 first, which is a lot easier to attack.